All right, I need to get these wheels out of here real soon and get them figured out, whether I'm going to replace them myself with O-rings, which might be a good idea, or whether I'm going to replace this by sending it off to Voice and Music. It'll be one of those two options. The only way to find out which one it's going to be is to take this thing out of there, and it's not that complicated, but it's probably more complicated than it seems. So basically, I think I want to pull this bracket right here off without disturbing this shaft very much and get this shaft out of there. And then once I have this shaft out of there, I'll just have to remember how it goes back in. And that's what the video is all about. So, you can kind of see this is the pointer side, and then this is that wheel. I'm going to take a marker just in case, and I'm going to mark around both sides of this wheel on the shaft. Now, hopefully I won't scrape all of it off when I pull this off of there, but I want to make sure I get these positioned right. It may not be a problem. They may not. There may be only one position for them to be. I just don't know. Oh, this rubber is in rough shape and rough. Okay, let's give it a shot and see how we do. It doesn't look that complicated. First things first, I'll just loosen these. This one was already kind of loose. None of them are super tight. I guess the screws are shorter than I thought they were. All right, so here we go. If I can lift this off just enough to get this little shaft out and then put it back down, I'll be okay. Okay, I think I was able to do that, because I don't see a need to remove this pointer. Now, I may see a need later, but I don't right now. I don't know why one screw is made of brass and the others are made of steel. Maybe it's just that they lost a screw and it looks like a common thread size. Maybe they just lost a screw and replaced it. So I'll have to look at the original video when I put this back together in case there was a reason for it. Okay, right, so this pointer's nice and loose. It's still oriented correctly. You see how this works. Let me show you how this works. Okay, you see this pointer is still where it needs to be. It's oriented correctly. Everything's good. Look at how this little selector between vernier and gross tuning works. You see there's a little spring right there. Let me see if I can get where the camera can see it. You see that there's a little spring right there. See that? Now watch. See that little spring grabs the detents. Let me see if I can get close enough for you to see. All right, so there we go. You see this is the two knurled wheels. See the detent there, little groove in the shaft? That's how that works. Nothing to it. Okay, I'm going to set this part aside. Well, guys, another thing that has eaten time lately away from the radio bench is, I may or may not have mentioned in my videos in the past, but my wifey's health is not the greatest. And so I have had to learn to live more in the moment and spend more time with her now versus time away working at the bench. So today we decided we would just go out and bum around. And, I got up in the morning fully intending to hit the radios and stuff like that. But wifey came in from watering and was in the mood to go bum. So off to going and bumming we went. So we went to an antique store. I have two favorite shopping centers in Salt Lake City. One, as you know, is Ray Elko, and that's where I buy my electronics. The other place is a place called Capital City Antique Mall. It is an awesome mall, and in fact, I'm going to have to do a loose ends video on that mall soon. I'll talk to the owner. She's a friend of mine, and I'll ask her permission to do that. And she may have to get with all the people that own booths in the mall just to make sure it's okay. But in any event, check out what I picked up today at Capital City. This is cool. In fact, I even sought the advice of none other than Bob Anderson to ask him whether this TV was worth getting. And I'll be real honest with you, man. He thought the price was a little high, and I'm sure he was right. And he said especially if the CRT was bad. And I know he knows his stuff, so I didn't question it a bit. But I confess, man, my emotions got the best of me. I really, really love this TV, so I had to have it, and I didn't mind paying a little more than I probably should have. And Bob, if you see this video and you're watching, man, I was listening to you, man, but I let my emotions get to me. So yeah, I'm a dodo. All right, so back to the TV. This is around 1958. This is a tube unit. I'm sure there's some. Well, I'm not sure. There might be some solid state stuff in there. But I kind of doubt it. Now, I know nothing about it. The guy that sold this, the guy that has the booth, has a lot of nice radios, and a lot of them are restored. He does more electronic restoration than he does cabinet stuff. And this may even be restored, and I'll tell you why I think so. This thing has a pretty decent raster. I was surprised. The tube seems decently strong. Now, are you going to have to wear sunglasses when you watch it? No, but I doubt that it was even that way when it was new. But it has the contrast adjustment seems to be nice. It's, obviously I'm looking at a raster. I'm not looking at a picture. But the contrast adjustment, as you watch it, when you turn the knob, it's nice and continuous without a lot of noise being introduced. When I turn the channel clunker, all the knobs and stuff are under here. When I turn the channel clunker, I actually do get a pretty good response. It's got nice audio, not very loud audio, but decent audio. So I'll have to figure out why it's not too loud. But none of that is anything I'm frightened of. Now I'm over here plugging this thing in, guys, because I thought, what the hell? I might as well plug it in and show you, and hopefully nothing will go wrong. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I break rules all the time. So if you're worried about turning things on when you shouldn't, well, close your eyes, because we're going to go ahead and turn this on for now. Now this is the third time I've turned it on, so I think it's actually okay. I didn't see any signs that the picture wasn't cut off on the top of the bottom or the sides. There's no spots on it. I mean, it's like I said, you don't have to wear sunglasses, but it's bright enough. And I'm going to have so much fun with this. I understand. There we go. I understand that these things aren't exactly the easiest to work on. I've seen Bob do a couple of metal chassis TVs. In fact, I think he even did an RCA. And they look like a real bear to work on. So this won't be the first TV I ever mess with. But it is cool. And I'll tell you why I had to have it. And I even mentioned this to Bob in my note to him. Check out that little stand, man. I really dig that. Little four-legged stand. And it's adjustable for angle. It's just really cool. Now this thing came with these little feet on it already. So the stand, I think, was either an extra or something you bought from RCA. Or maybe it came with it. But it's in really nice condition. All this stuff looks good. It's all the yikes. All the knobs are there, and they're all in nice condition. The lettering, everything is in good condition. It's just a nice looking little TV set. This bezel around this frame here around the screen, it's in nice condition. There's a couple scratches in it, but I think I'll just leave it be. Even the RCA logo looks good. So I was kind of tickled with this TV. It's, should I have spent what I spent on it? Maybe not, but I think this thing has a lot of potential. And I think those of you that love TVs will understand the allure of this thing. So it does respond when I turn the channel clunker. You see a little blurb of noise in there when I do it. It's got audio. And, there's the brightness control. I'm pretty tickled with it. It's going to do a nice job, I think. I think there's the contrast control. Oops, nope, I think that's vertical hold. But I'll learn all this stuff once I get into it. I'm pretty sure that I have the SAMs on this too. So I've got a lot of TV Sams. Probably not as many as some people like Bob do, but I got enough to keep me busy. So I think this is going to be a fun TV. Now this isn't all I got, although this should have been plenty. It's not. So let me just show you what else I got. I had no business buying more stuff, I'll tell you that. Now I am into tape recorders and stuff like that. Some of you know that. I have not done any videos, and if you want to see videos on tape recorders, you check out this person named Clyde Site. All right, there's his name. You go to YouTube and check out Clyde Site. You want to see recorder stuff, man? This guy knows recorders, and he knows them in detail, and his videos are detailed. He does the mechanical stuff. He does some of the electrical, but I think his focus is more on the mechanical, but that's okay because that's where most of us would struggle. Well, I'm going to ask him if he's ever seen one of these. This is called a stenoette, or I think that's what it's called, or stenorette. Anyway, this is a little steno machine. Now see, you open the cover here, and you see it's got an indicator for position, and here are all the, the buttons. I'm not sure exactly. I think that's record, that's probably play, that's probably rewind, and volume or whatever. I'm not sure what this one is. But I'll have to check it out. That's probably volume there. I don't know what this guy is. Here's some little, looks like some kind of a counter reset, all right? And it's got this really cool, it's a little stiff because it hasn't been operated much, but really cool little cover, which I really like. And I like Grundig products. By the way, I should have said this is a Grundig. All right, so you see that the cabinet is in pretty good shape. And then you open it, and inside here is where the all of the I'm not sure that goes there. I don't think I'll push that down there till I know that for sure. This was just loose inside there. I think it mounts right there, but I'm not sure about that. So I'm just going to set it aside. Stenorette. So basically it's a recorder, a tape recorder. I'm sure it runs 1/4 inch tape on a little 3-inch or 3.5 inch reels. I'm sure it moves really slowly, like maybe 3/4 inch per second, I think is the size below 1 7/8. I'm not sure, it might be 15/16. But in any event, I'm sure it moves very slowly. It's got one reel on it, which is good. It's got a take-up reel. It's in excellent condition. I don't know what year it was made. In fact, I know very little about it, but it sure looked like fun, and I paid $9 for it. So, that's pretty hard to beat that. It makes for a really fun little thing to look forward to playing with. It did not come with the microphone that goes in this connector, but I have a couple of Grundig tape recorders that use that same microphone connector, so I think we're okay. It even has what looks like a battery indicator here, which ought to be interesting. I think this is a battery operated machine. It does have a little chip here on the corner. I have not gotten into the battery compartment, if that indeed is what that is. And I'm sure this is solid state. This is probably built around 62, 63, something like that. So that'll be fun. Now let's take a look at this part here. So pretty simple part. Now what I have to find out is, can this rubber here be replaced with like an O-ring or something? I'm going to try slipping it off of there and see what I come up with. I really don't want to move these wheels or disassemble them that way. All I really want to do is get this rubber off of here. So I want to see how it's put on. Might not be that hard. It's probably going to break when I try. Not much I can do about that. Yeah, yep, it's going to break. But at least I can see how it's constructed this way. And I don't know that an O-ring is going to work. I'm probably going to have to send this to Gary at Voice of Music. Gotta be careful not to stab myself. I might get lucky. I don't know. Let's see what this guy's made of. Wow. Well, it's not like I can preserve the rubber for use. It's just I don't want to tear it up to the point where it's not recognizable. Okay, I can see it's not that thick. Maybe a thick O-ring if I have one, or I can find one. Probably true for both things. This is not going to yield without breaking apart. It's just going to be stubborn. I'm sure there's a better way. I don't know if applying heat would do it. Might soften it up. Let me try that. Did soften it up, but maybe softened it too much. Whatever you do, don't put this wheel in a vise of any sort. You wind up distorting the shaft and then it'll never turn true again. All right, so I'm going to have to break it off piece by piece, but at least this way, the pieces will give us some idea of the thickness. So what I'm going to do now is just soak this whole dang thing in some lacquer thinner, and hopefully that'll soften up that rubber and get that loose and get all this clean. But first I'm going to try some O-rings. Let's show you this last thing that I got today. And this I paid nothing for. This was sitting in a pile, and I just asked, what do they want for it? And they said, they looked around left and right and said, you can just have that. So I really dug that. This is just a cabinet, Philco Transitone. I happen to have a chassis that I am pretty darn sure will fit in this cabinet, and it's got a trashed little tabletop cabinet. This is a totally restorable cabinet, and I like the little handle. The one I have does not have that, and I even believe it has a loop antenna built into this right here, but I'm not sure. So it's in pretty good solid condition. It's a nice little curved cabinet. I like the accents on it, so what the heck, it'll make a nice little project. So that's what I picked up today when Wifey and I went bumming, and we had a lot of fun. Oh, let me show you one more thing. I have shown you the radio that goes with this cabinet, but I want to show you the cabinet. This, remember I mentioned that I was working with a friend who we're putting together this radio for a friend of ours who has suffered a tragedy in his life, and this radio will give him some comfort. So we're putting together this great big Cuba radio for him, and I'm doing my part of it, just giving him the work and whatever it takes, the parts too. That's my contribution to the project. Well, my buddy who's working with me on it happens to be one of the furniture refinishers that I work for, a fellow named Michael Ensign. And Michael Ensign is a super, super nice guy. Well, I had asked him, because I like his work so much, I had asked him to work on this cathedral cabinet for me. And this is the cabinet for that Model 38. If you look back a few loose ends videos ago, I had a battery-operated Model 38 that I'm pretty sure, is it the battery operated? Anyway, it's a Model 38. I can't remember. I have to look, and I don't have my old man glasses on. But anyway, it had a absolutely trashed cabinet. I'll look it up and I'll maybe throw a picture in this video. But check it out. He redid the cabinet for me, and he did that as a gift for me. So he did a really super nice job on it. It's beautiful. I mean, this thing was missing big chunks of veneer. A couple big chunks in this front section here. Really nice. It was all cracked and broken up here and missing veneer up here. And although it's not perfect now, it's damn nice. And I'm really excited about putting the radio in this. I'm not a real big one on cathedrals, except I like this vintage of Philco Cathedral. The ones that have the little window like that and this shape to it. The ones made around this time, I think are about 1934, 35. I like these a lot. I'm not big on other cathedrals, but I like these. So that'll be a project for me someday. I just thought I'd show you the cabinet now rather than wait until we're all old. All right, back to work. All right, guys, let me show you what I come up with, and then I've just test fitted this. If it works, I'm going to have to, and I think it's going to work, I'm going to go ahead and have to take it apart and clean those wheels, but I wanted to show you my idea. So you see there is that's the sort of, you know, gross tuning, the fast tuning. Now if we go to the slow, the coarse tuning, that's the coarse tuning. I'll get it straight one of these days. Okay, you see that this little knurled wheel is starting to make impressions in this rubber here. This rubber is not, it's actually kind of a semi-hard rubber, and that's probably going to be good because it won't tear it up. And then this fine wheel, when you pull this out, and you should turn it when you do it, and I'd be willing to bet you that the directions for the radio said to do that. You turn this, and it operates that one. All right, so I think that's going to work. What do you guys think? Now let me tell you what those parts are. So you got to kind of turn it as you go to pop it on there, okay? It seems to be working. As it wears this wheel here down just a little bit, it'll slip in easier, I think. But let me tell you what these are. I told you I used to be into cars. So this part right here is an intake manifold gasket for a mid-70s fuel-injected Volkswagen engine. Cool, huh? This part right here is the distributor O-ring seal for the same period of air-cooled Volkswagen engine for the distributor. So I guess it doesn't hurt to have been into cars because this radio is going to be part Volkswagen. That's actually kind of cool. I kind of like that. And I have friends from the Volkswagen world that kind of like knowing that too. So there you go. There's coarse tuning, fine tuning, and let's see. It's a little bit tough to get it back to coarse. I'll have to work on that. I might bevel the edge of that ring so that it slips on there easier, and coarse tuning again. So what I'll do is I'll take some sandpaper and I'll put a little beveled edge on the corner of this ring, so that it slips on easier. But after I clean that knurled wheel, it may fit on there a little tighter and be okay. All right, so let me get this apart. Let me take this out of here again. So it's really simple. You just loosen these two screws. I'm getting better at this, guys. And then you remove this screw. Okay. And then this bracket will lift up enough. Just enough. You have to loosen these maybe a tiny bit more. Oops, I loosened the wrong one. No wonder. I hope I didn't mess something up there. So you loosen these two that are close together. Okay. This one and this one. Loosen that and it lifts up just enough. If you've done it right. Of course, it helps if this is, there we go. Now it should lift right out of there. Yep. Lifts it right out of there. Okay, and then of course, you know, just like John from Arkansas says, we got to be disciplined. Put that screw back. Otherwise, we lose screws and we forget where they go and things like that. So put that screw back. Doesn't have to be overly tight. I don't want to compress that lock washer. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. Now, I'm going to pull these back off of here and clean underneath them and put them back on. Sorry guys, I moved off camera there, so you lost out on some. You see, that's all it is. That's an intake manifold gasket for about a 74 Beetle or 74 Volkswagen fuel injected Type 4 engine. That would be the later buses and the 411, 412 and the 914s. This one here comes off pretty easily. And these I have plenty of. I have lots of O-rings. And actually, this is not from the same engine. This is a distributor shaft O-ring. It's a seal, an oil seal, for all of the air-cooled Beetle engines from about 1948 up till about, till the end, till 1978 or so. See, now you see I have to get all this junk out of here, and those little rubber seals will fit in there better. So let me go ahead and soak this, and we'll get back to this shortly. All right, guys, let me show you what I'm going to do. I've cleaned up this wheel, okay, and it's going to be pretty good. And I'm going to take a little bit of silicone sealant. I don't want a real strong adhesive. I'm just going to use a little bit of this Clear Seal silicone sealant. Now this stuff's about shot, so it's nice and sticky, which is what I want. I don't want it runny. And I'm going to put that sealant right here in the grooves, the knurled part of this little spool here. This one for the smaller ring. Now it looks a little messy right now, and that's okay. I'll get it out of there. All right, I'll set that aside. Now I took this little plastic wheel and I beveled one edge of it, okay? But yet I cleaned out the inside so it'd slip on there a little easier. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to have to clean off that friction disc too. So once I get that on there, it's still not easy to get on there. All right, now it's on there. Turn it a little bit to kind of make sure it fits on there nice and round. Now I'm just going to leave that sucker be for a while, other than cleaning it off. I'm going to leave it be so that silicone sealant sets up. And when it does, it should be just enough to hold that in place without letting it turn as we operate it. And that's all I want. I don't want something that's got to be glued, real rigidly for the next 100 years. Okay, I'm going to clean off this sealant before it hardens on me. All right. Now I'm just going to leave that be. It's starting to set up already. This stuff sets up quickly. Now I'm going to take this distributor shaft O-ring and I'm going to do the same thing. Put it on here. I want to do this kind of messy thing one time and then be done. So I'll do that right now. Okay. Now it looks awful right now. It's messy. Yeah. I'm going to take this guy, all right, and I'm going to very carefully stretch it a little bit. It's a little bit finicky. It wants to roll over. There we go. All right, now I need to clean my hands before I handle it much more. Boy, this stuff just gets everywhere. And it doesn't come off easily. Last, I want to get this shaft clean because I don't want that binding up. All right, it looks awful right now. Once the silicone hardens a little bit, I'll clean it up some more. But there it is. It's got new rings on there. They don't look good right now because I've been working with the silicone, but they'll look good when I'm done, and they'll work. That's the most important part. They will work. And so I will put this back probably tomorrow back onto the tuning mechanism. And so far, that was the only real stumbling block that I see. I should be done with this radio in pretty short order. So let me go set this aside. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put this wheel back on there. It actually, these things I can't turn them. That's a good thing. So they're on there rigid. This is beveled enough that it should be able to slip in and out of there pretty easily. And all this silicone is dried, and this little bit that you see is not going to be an issue. Remember how I did it. This screw comes out. Let me just take that out. Set it aside. These two just need to be loosened some. So I think they're loose enough. And then this guy here goes with the little brass friction discs facing me. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there. I may need to clean that a little bit more once I get it installed, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. And just all right. There we go. You see how that goes, right? And so I discovered it's much easier to do if I pull this coarse tuning wheel out. So if I set it in the vernier or the fine tuning position, it's easier to install and close this bracket back up. Don't want to tighten it real tight just yet. Let's see how we look. Okay, so there's the fine tuning. We have that okay. And it's got a pretty good grip, although it's not perfect. It's not a super tight grip. It's tight enough. And then if you turn this as you go, you get this up here on the, I need to have a knob on the tuning deal here. Let me do that first. Okay. So you turn that as you push it in, and that works better. Now, this will begin to wear in a little bit, and it'll be just fine. It's kind of squeezing air bubbles out of that silicone. But it seems to be working. I'm going to have to take some care the first few times I use it. You're right there. It's squeezing air out of it. Maybe not. I got a bad feeling about that wheel long term. I don't think that's going to be the right wheel to use. Because it wants to push it up out of the groove. It's getting better though. Okay guys, as you can see, this thing's not going to work. I'm not at all comfortable with leaving this little O-ring on there because I think it's going to just get worse from where it is right now. You can see it wants to lift up off of the spool, and that's not going to be good. So I've got a different idea I'm going to try, and I don't really have time to do it in this video because this one's gotten a little bit long, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it in the next video. So for right now, we'll close it down. I'll let you go, and we'll just pick this back up next time. So from your Western Outpost in Salt Lake City, this is Michael. That's all for now. I'm not getting a cozy feeling about that.